10 valuable lessons I learned after decluttering over 60% of my luxury handbag collection. The last two lessons are probably the most important lessons, in my opinion, that I've learned. Hey guys, welcome back. I thought today I share with you guys some lessons I learned by decluttering a huge part of my luxury bag collection over the years. Just for some background stats, I counted all the luxury bags I ever bought over the last, say, 15 years or so this did not happen overnight. Anyway, I counted all the designer bags I ever bought, which came to 69 bags. I went through each bag and realized that I sold 43 of them. I know, it sounds crazy. Anyway, over the last 15 years, buying this many bags and curating my collection to where it is today gave me some insight. And of course, I learned a lot of things along the way, made lots of mistakes. So I thought, you know what, I'm in a good position to share some insights that I've gained from this whole process. These lessons are obviously more specific to luxury handbag collections, but I think a lot of these lessons can also apply to your wardrobe in general. So I personally would apply these same principles to my general wardrobe as well. But if you are into luxury bags and you're in the process of decluttering or curating or editing down your collection to a collection that serves your lifestyle really well, then hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with lesson number 1, which is by decluttering, I've gained a lot more clarity about my personal style and what really suits my lifestyle. Just because a bag is really popular or it has a very classic status, I realize it doesn't always work for my own aesthetics and for my own lifestyle. This might be a very obvious point, but when you're at the beginning of your, say, bag buying journey, it is not always obvious. You go for bags that are recommended by other people or what is popular, but sometimes I find that it takes a few trial and errors to really figure out what your style is, what kind of aesthetics you like. So for me, I find that the way I dress is not that dressy, but it's not really that casual. I do like the smart casual vibe. So I like to look a little bit put together on a day-to-day basis without looking too dressy. So I now have a good clarity on what style of bags work for the majority of my life's occasions. So I really stopped buying bags for my fantasy life. I think we can all understand where I'm coming from with social media and being able to see a lot of photos from celebrities and bloggers. I mean, you do see a lot of cute bags, but I do realize that I don't have the same lifestyle that a massive fashion blogger has who attends a lot of fancy events. So I don't need 10 different evening bags, for example. And the other thing I realized is that certain colors just don't work for me. I have noticed a pattern in the bags that I end up selling and not keeping for the long run. For my aesthetics, I find the really cool tone cement type grays, they're not really great for my wardrobe. I do find the grays with the more blue undertone work better for the way I dress. Also, the very pastel-y pale pinks, which these are really popular colors that are believed to be more or less neutral and very desirable, but these colors never really worked out for me. For example, my Chanel mini flap with a handle in that gorgeous grey color didn't work out for me. Also my Chanel boy bag, which was in the beautiful cement grey color, they are both gone from my collection. Even though these are bags that people say you can't go wrong with because they are the more classic Chanel bags, in these colors they never really got used in my life. So now I have a much sharper sense of my style, color and aesthetics. The second lesson I've learned is that my life is constantly evolving, so my taste and needs change, and that's okay. Once upon a time, I used to think that classic items will see me through, you know, basically forever or for all my life. But over time, I realized that my life is not static. I'm never going to be the same person I was, say, 5 years ago. Things just change. You get older, you become more mature. Your lifestyle just changes. For example, my life has dramatically changed after becoming a mum 2 years ago. So the same bags that I used to get a lot of wear out of, I don't even touch. And the bags that I used to love but had little fiddly bits that really bothered me, they're acceptable to me But since having a child, I just don't have any time for any bag that has anything that annoys me. So my life evolves, and it is okay to change my opinion on bags and move things on. There's no need for feeling guilty about changing my mind on something and letting something go. I learned that it is only natural for our bag collections or our wardrobes to evolve with us as we age and mature and enter different chapters of our lives. Bags are still just things, so it's okay to let bags go that no longer serve us. Along the same lines, I also learned that it is okay to make some mistakes along the way. Some purchases just don't really work out, but you don't know until you actually purchase the item and start using it in your own lifestyle. Of course, we want to get the purchase right every single time, especially when we're talking designer bags, because they're not cheap by any means. But no matter how many reviews we read, how many review videos we watch, and how many modeling shots and pictures we look at, I mean, sometimes it really takes for you to own the handbag to realize certain things about the bag that may not necessarily work out for your lifestyle. And by decluttering these items that we categorize as mistake purchases, you also let go of the guilt that you have around purchasing the wrong item and spending your hard-earned money on it. Even if you have lost a lot of money, we're only humans. It is just natural, again, for us to make some mistakes along the way, and we learn from it. And these days, I find that after having bought so many bags and realized what kind of bags don't really work out for me, I rarely make bad purchases. You guys may have noticed it from my regular recent purchases update video where I discuss the items that were really great purchases versus items that didn't really work out for me. I find that over time, I have more items in the category of good purchases than not. So I think I am really learning what kind of styles work for me. Leading on from understanding my own style, I noticed that I don't really love super versatile bags. This is more personal to me, but since I am someone who will always probably have quite a few bags in my collection, I noticed the versatile bags to be almost like useless bags, in that when a bag tries to do too many things or cover too many occasions, it's not really good at any of them, if that makes sense. Let me give you a couple of examples. So a few years ago, I had the Chanel Jumbo Classic flat bag in the black caviar leather with the gold hardware, which was a huge achievement at the time, but I soon realized that that bag didn't really work out for me because it was just too versatile. It tried to wear too many hats. What I mean by that is that it is a dressy enough looking bag as well as a big enough bag for a day bag. In other words, if I was trying to use it for the daytime, a lot of the times it looked a little bit too dressy with my daytime outfits. But in the evenings, even though it is a dressy looking bag with the chain and the quilting and everything, I found the bag to be too big with my evening attire. So for me, I learned the lesson that just because a bag is versatile doesn't mean that I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it. That may be the reason why I never reach for it. The next lesson I've learned is not to duplicate the same styles. There are definitely some exceptions, but in general, I found most duplicate styles I had, I actually let them go. Just because I love a style so much doesn't mean that I need to have multiples of it. I know some people collect bags and love to have all different colors or variations of the same style of bag. But for me, if I had duplicates, there was always one that was my favorite, and I would never really reach for the other one because it was too similar, but it wasn't my favorite. So I'd always go for that favorite one. For example, I used to have two square classic minis from Chanel, both in the black, one in the chevron quilting with silver hardware and one with the diamond quilting in lambskin with light gold hardware. I thought they were different enough, and I liked having different hardware options, and I thought they really gave off different vibes. But in the end, I found myself always using the classic quilted lambskin one because it had the light gold hardware. I really found myself not needing the caviar chevron quilting one with the silver hardware, so I ended up letting that one go. Along the same lines, I do have a few Birkin 25s, which I'm in the process of downsizing as well because I found that I really don't need that many of the same style. I noticed that I'm not a collector, so having duplicates doesn't really suit me. The next lesson I've learned is with the more trendy it bags, proceed with the expectation that it may not be a long-lasting love, but a fling for a couple of seasons, and buy it with the knowledge that I may very well end up losing a lot of money by selling it after a year or two. If I'm okay with that and I want that trendy bag that much that I am happy to do that, then go ahead and purchase it. When I was going through my list of bags that I end up selling, I noticed that a lot of those bags were the it bags of that era. Usually when I buy a more trendy item that is so popular at that time, I also get really sick of it really quickly. I don't know if it may be due to the fact that I see it so much on Instagram or social media, and then I see it on me, that I see it so much that I get over these styles really quickly. But whatever style that is really heavily played out on social media, I found myself getting over them really quickly. I had the Gucci Marmont camera bag. I also had the Chanel 19 bag. Even though these are the more classic silhouette of bags like camera bags and flat bags, I noticed that the style was more trendy. At the moment, I also am really loving the Chanel 25 bag, the Jenny bag. Oh my goodness, that bag is a vibe. I have not come across a Chanel bag in the recent times that I wanted so much, but I'm really considering that because when I purchased the Chanel 19 bag, I thought I loved it so much, but the love didn't really last very long. So I'm gonna sit on this one for a while to think about it. And it is a really expensive bag. So with the more trendy bags that are really popular, I am very cautious with it, even though I may think it is true love at the time. Next one might be a really obvious point for some of you guys, but I was once really into micro and nano bags, but now I do have a size minimum. Maybe it's because I'm getting older and I'm less bothered trying to squeeze things into it, tiny little bags, but I still do love mini bags, but I don't go for bags that are too tiny. Even though they technically fit all my bare minimum essentials, if they fit so tight that I have to squeeze things in every single time I take something out and put it back in, I just don't have the patience for that anymore. So examples of that is, you guys know that I recently sold my micro DJoy from Dior, which I love the look of. I still think it is the most adorable bag, and I love the fact that it still technically fit my phone, but it was just so tight that I just lost patience to use that bag. Another one is my Saint Laurent small wallet on chain that I thought would be the perfect personal belongings bag to use with my larger baby bag when I had my baby girl 2 years ago. I found that bag to be too tight as well to put all my things in. So when bags are that small, I know that I'm not really gonna enjoy using those bags that much. So now, even when I consider mini bag purchases, I would avoid those bags that fit my things too tight. The next lesson I've learned is I would rather sell something even at a loss than to keep the item just because I don't want to lose that much money. Most luxury bags, when you purchase them, they'll instantly lose value, except a few very highly coveted classic styles like your Birkins and Kellys and some very rare bags, but most bags will lose its value. So for any reason, if you have a bag in your collection that you're just really not loving or using at all, but you just don't want to let it go for pennies and hold on to them. I used to do that a lot, but I stopped doing that because for me, I realized I'd rather free up my space, both physically and mentally, by letting that item go, even at a great loss, because even if I'm getting pennies for it, I'm reclaiming my physical and mental space, and I'd rather the bag go to someone who's actually going to enjoy the bag a lot more and get the bag at a huge bargain as well. So if there is a bag that I'm just not reaching for, but I know I'm only going to get a very small percentage of my money back, now I'd still rather let it go because I value clarity and space more than that amount of physical money that I would lose or have lost. The last two lessons are probably the most important lessons, in my opinion, that I've learned personally. So the second last lesson is by letting bags go from my collection that I don't truly love or enjoy, I end up valuing the bags that I have, that I end up keeping in my collection a lot more. So it's almost like each bag has earned the right to be in my life. Even though I might have less number of bags, I really treasure them even more. So it's almost like instead of dividing my love between like 50 bags, I just love the 20 bags and give each one a lot more love. So you end up rediscovering your collection, shop your own collection. So by decluttering, I notice myself shopping even less. So I become a much more picky shopper because I understand what kind of style really works out for me. So it's a win-win situation where I let the items go that don't work out for me and, reclaim some space and money, but it also slows me down on shopping new bags. So really it's like two birds, one stone. And finally, I learned that decluttering doesn't always have to arrive at a certain destination, a certain number of bags, but it is an ongoing process. I used to be really fixated on the idea of decluttering in my head that I want to arrive at a specific number of bags, like I only want to have 10 bags or else it's not a well-curated collection, or I can't have more than say 2 black bags or 2 beige bags. I used to set myself so many silly rules with decluttering, but I realized that these rules don't have to be. It is simply a process that will evolve with my evolving lifestyle. And it is okay to have any number of bags as long as each of the bags serve me. And I realized that decluttering does not equal having to be a minimalist. And I think I used to struggle with this idea so much that if I'm not arriving at a minimalist collection, I might as well not even bother because my decluttering will be pointless. But now I know that it doesn't matter how many bags I end up after each declutter, as long as each bag has a good function in my life. Just because I have more than my fixated number of say 10 bags doesn't mean that the other extra bags that are outside the 10 bags are useless. I feel more free and flexible with how I view my collection. So these are the lessons I've learned over the years by decluttering a big portion of my bag collection that I've ever owned. I'd love to know which point resonated with you the most, or if you'd like to add some lessons that you've learned by curating your collection. Do share them in the comments below. If you'd like to find out more about the reasons why I sold specific bags, I'll leave my playlist of all the what I sold and why videos on screen for you to check out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending some of your precious time with me today, and I can't wait to see you again soon in my next video. Bye guys.